in addition to the communication, that's part one. Communication is going to be critical. The second thing that's really important is the systems that you put in place for your virtual team. They're critical to having increased productivity. So once you have that communication strategy in place, you also have to create and refine your processes. Because if you don't hold your team accountable for results, they'll spend way too much time on the individual tasks. So I'll give you a good example. I hired a video guy to help us with video production a couple years ago, and he and I would meet to record footage for YouTube and our online courses. And since the guy's a professional and was really, really good at what he did, very, very high level, I didn't really take the time to kind of create a step-by-step process to make sure that we were producing results. So after a month or so, we had like 30 hours of footage. It was phenomenal. We had this incredible amount of footage and a couple of really stellar videos that were produced. So since there was no goal, there was no timetable that was established. I mean, this guy, because he was such an artist, he spent weeks editing, and refining each of the videos, and they were top notch. I mean, they were awesome. You can still see them on YouTube if you want to, but we just weren't producing them fast enough. So as a result, I was spending, I don't know, thousands and thousands of dollars for every 5-minute video that we were creating. So eventually I figured out that we had to kind of set a production schedule with deadlines. And that worked really, really well. Once the expectations were there with the team member, it was real easy to keep track of whether or not we were meeting those goals. So one of the things that you can do is actually set weekly goals with the team. You don't necessarily have to set the goal for them. In fact, it's better if they set their goals themselves, because the temptation is to create just a task list for your team. And just so you know, that's very time consuming. I've tried it. It's time consuming. I've tried all these things. The things that don't work, I'm telling you not to do. But it's kind of juvenile too. You're kind of looking over people's shoulders. So instead, meet with your individual team members for just, I don't know, a few minutes at the beginning of each week, and then help them establish their weekly goals. Then you, as the leader, roll up all the individual goals and then into a unified kind of team goal for the week. So if you do that fast, you can do it with a virtual team meeting with everyone in it. But if it can get somewhat burdensome at times, so on occasion you'll probably just want to meet with your team members individually. So just setting the goals isn't important enough. You actually have to go over the results every week of the previous week's goals. And this is a time that you can really dish out the accolades. So at the start of each week, share a few of the big accomplishments from the previous week and be lavish with your praise for your team members. Remember, you're not seeing these folks on a daily basis. And so sometimes it's more likely that they're going to kind of feel out of the loop. So it's really important that you call attention to those great successes that you're having, so that we continue to increase the productivity. So when you create the project list with roles for each team member, that can be helpful as well. After each team member sets his or her weekly goal with you, then you can just have them add tasks to a project task list. This way, as they accomplish one of the tasks, they can kind of check it off, and it gives them a sense of accomplishment. It also documents the productivity of the team member. Just so you know, this is one of those things that can be very time consuming for you as the manager. So this is important that you're having your team member kind of do that. And this is an easy thing to do in Slack or some of the other software products that are out there. And just make it to where, like, for instance, what we'll do is when some video footage is recorded and it's been edited, then all the video person will do now is just kind of she'll send a link to where that footage is, or the edited video is, on our Google Drive. She'll send that out through Slack, and then she'll send a notification to that group saying, hey, I just finished the video for this week, and it's posted at blank, and that's it. So basically that's something that now it's easy to inform the entire team that something has accomplished, and it's real easy for you as the manager to kind of go back and see that the team is being really productive throughout the process. By the way, I mentioned Google Drive. You want to use some type of document sharing, some type of cloud sharing for a collaboration on projects. So we use G Suite, the Google Cloud sharing service. So if the copywriter is working on a copy for a web page, the web designer can access the document in real time. So the website designer can actually go in and copy and paste the copywriter's text while she's still working on it, knowing it's not the finished product, but to put it as in the space so she can see what it's going to look like when she puts the photos and everything on the web page. So your entire team has access to all the documents all the time, so it improves communication pretty dramatically. One other quick thing is that as a leader, your role is to communicate one-on-one with your team members frequently. So a lot of times we'll say, yeah, well, I got the Zoom meeting and I'm meeting with everybody on a daily basis. After you meet with them as a whole, start reaching out to each team member individually. And I suggest that you use Zoom for this as well, or FaceTime or some other visual type of communication. Because if your team member is having challenges, then he or she's probably not going to want to divulge that to the entire group, but they're more likely to confide in you personally if you're reaching out. So it helps you kind of keep in tune and in touch with your team members and the challenges that they might be going through, especially through a challenging time like this.